I decided to write this book some years ago when I was in Acre doing research for a previous book. While I was there, I was struck at the time by the central importance that education played in the survival strategies of the rubber tappers in Acre. This was very different from what I had observed in other communities in other countries. Now, I know clearly that education is a very important tool for traditional or modernizing cultures everywhere, but it was particularly crucial in the case of the Seringueiros in Acre. So I promised myself that I would one day return to learn more about this remarkable educational experiment and to give voice to the people who in fact constructed and lived this extraordinary experience. Schools in the Forest is the result of that promise. The goals of Projeto Seringueiro were very democratic and communitarian. They were really to provide the local populations with the essential literacy skills necessary to strengthen their union, their cooperative, and to enable them to live sustainably in the forest, to resist expulsion. So the goals were both political and economic. First, we have the basic methodology and pedagogy of renowned Brazilian educator Paulo Freire, whose consciousness-raising education for personal and political empowerment depended on a curriculum, a very special curriculum, one that respected the intellectual universe of the learner, in this case, the forest environment of the rubber tappers. The second main intellectual influence is that of the Christian-based communities, which were really the action arm of liberation theology. And the base communities were extremely active in the Amazon and certainly active in Acre. In the most isolated community, you would find Christian-based communities, monitors, working with the local populations to do Bible study, to help them believe and see that God is on the side of the poor. God cares about the poor, to instill in them the sense that they can in fact change their situation. A third influence was that of, I would say, Marxism, or more appropriately, the use of the social categories, the categories for social analysis that were important in Marxist thought. For example, the concept of oppressor and oppressed groups and the concepts of capital and labor. These were very useful concepts for framing issues and strategies. A fourth and hugely important intellectual influence was that of environmentalism. It is, in fact, the basis of the curriculum of Projeto Seringueiro's, all of their schools. It is woven into the very fabric of every lesson and of all the teacher training programs and the accompaniment programs as well. It is part of the liberation theology. So it is the very foundation that holds together all of these other philosophies. When it began in Acre in 1981, illiteracy in the rural areas was virtually 100%. Practically no one even knew how to hold a pencil, much less write their own name. By 2008, we have several thousand individuals, adults and children, who have learned to read and write at a basic level. Many of these people have gone on for advanced education. Many have gone on to train themselves and then come back to do health work in the community, to do union organizing, or to work as leaders and officers in the cooperative, to become teachers themselves. A surprising number of Projeto Seringueiro graduates, I guess you could say, have gone on to become political and educational leaders at the state, regional, and even national levels. The biggest success, I guess, would be its institutionalization. That is, its curriculum, its methodology, its teacher training program were all assumed by the state. In other words, they became public policy. So Project Rubber Tapper has become the model for rural education throughout the state of Acre. And anyone who is familiar with non-governmental organizations or with community organizing is very familiar with the impecunious hand-to-mouth existence of most NGOs. Well, Projeto Seringueiro has certainly experienced all of these chronic challenges. Most recently, the challenge has been one that is a little less familiar. It has been the dramatic change of identity from struggling organization to alternative, subversive organization, you might say, to official status via the absorption by the state. So the challenge of becoming part of the establishment is a new challenge for Projeto Seringueiro, now that its objectives and best practices have become public policy. Schools in the Forest really offers proof that those at the bottom of the social ladder, working together with like-minded people, can in fact change social institutions and improve radically the quality of their lives. Schools in the Forest shows us how ideas work in practice. In order to succeed, it really needs to be rooted in the local community. It needs to have the participation of the local partners. It needs to reflect their aspirations, have their input, their problems, their goals. All of those need to be part of the curriculum. Projeto Seringueiro, Project Rubber Tapper, has many, many lessons and stories for students in the classroom as well as for practitioners in the field, whether they're in Bolivia or Bangladesh. And I think people may wish to adapt certain features of Project Rubber Tapper to their own circumstances.